Today on Aussie Arvos, we are retracing the steps of the first gold rush in Australia and exploring the tracks.
It's pretty steep.
And the campsites.
This would have to be one of the sickest campsites I've ever seen.
That were once used by generations before us.
Oh my God, it's working, Patrick. Fried chicken in the bush. I'm gonna go down and clean some of it up because I can't stand. Actually gross.
Today's journey begins in the 1870s. We've been transported back in time to a former gold mining town, which was once one of New South Wales' largest inland towns. This is Hill End.
The discovery of gold in Australia in the 1850s transformed this country, and today we're in the region where it all began. Located 4 hours northwest of Sydney, Hill End and the surrounding Bathurst region was home to Australia's first major gold rush, as gold was first discovered along the Turon River in 1851. This discovery led to a massive influx of prospectors to the region to seek their fortune. And by the 1870s, Hill End's population soared. There was over 28 hotels, 2 newspapers, banks, and even a brewery. But fast forward 150 years, the town's once bustling streets became quiet, but they would not disappear.
This town has been preserved like no other. It's one of the most significant historical sites in Australia, but there's so much I got to show you, so let's get in the car and get going. It looks fake, but it's the real deal. This is all real. It all happened. It all existed. All the buildings are still here. You're in a living museum, essentially. It's pretty crazy.
Funnily enough, here in Hill End, they actually found the largest nugget of gold ever found in Australia. It came in at 286 kilos. It was almost 6 foot tall. And as you can see from the image here, it was just absolutely mind-blowing how big it was. And today's money, it'd be worth quite a few million, I imagine.
We took a walk along Bridle Track to check out the ruins of a once thriving goldfield. It's hard to comprehend just how busy this place would have been all those years ago.
So Liam and I have been walking along this bold hill walking track, and we just found what is a vein of quartz in the ground, and this is pretty much what the miners were looking for. Once all the alluvial gold mining, which is like using a pan in the creeks and stuff, once all that was gone, they were going for quartz and crushing the quartz and getting what gold they could out of them. So yeah, good remnant left behind. And this is where all that quartz would be going, straight to a crusher like this one here. They'd be running 24/7 in this town all day, have a steam engine connected up to that big flywheel, and these things would just crush and crush and crush, and yeah, hopefully get some gold out of your quartz. So what are we in here, Liam?
This is the Golden Gully. This is where they did a lot of the alluvial mining.
We then went to check out the public fossicking area, where people still come to this day to try their luck in finding gold.
I was just saying to Paddy how I don't think we can really understand the abundance of gold that must have been here for it to be so profitable for like 10 years with, you know, thousands of people essentially coming in and fossicking these fields. Like, I reckon you would have been able to take your pan and just scoop any old hunk of, you know, rock and dirt out of the riverbed and there would have been gold flecks in it, you know, like that. Whereas now, you're probably fairly hard pressed to find someone. That's why it was worth so much less back then, because they thought there was heaps of it. They thought they were going to be able to probably do it like for ages and ages, but now it's like, oh well, you've taken all the easy stuff, now the rest is all super difficult to get to.
It's also pretty incredible to think about all the machinery that had to be brought from the cities all the way out to Hill End with the use of horses. It's certainly a lot different to how easily we can move things today.
So we're just travelling along the Bylong Road through coal country of out in New South Wales, and got a big coal train coming past us right now. All the coal that's being mined out here, being sent out to Newcastle, onto the ships, and out to China, India, all these places where we ship our coal. Look at it, it's the black gold of 21st century Australia.
As you come to Hill End, you've got to make sure to get up to the Bold Hill Lookout, which is where we are now. You can see a great overview of the town and the old goldfields essentially, and yeah, it's really cool to see such an isolated little town in amongst all the mountains.
So with the town of Hilland now explored, and it's such a beautiful town, definitely worth checking it out and staying there tonight.
We stayed there the previous night and there's a great campsite right in town and it even had hot showers.
But we are moving on. We're going to go and tackle the Bridle Track, which goes from Hilland all the way to Bathurst. So we're really keen to check it out. We'll get in our Forbies and get going.
Constructed in the 1870s, the Bridle Track was established to provide a more direct route between the goldfields of Hilland and the town of Bathurst, enabling the transport of supplies and gold between the two towns.
Now, I believe it's called the Bridle Track because when they're on horseback travelling between Bathurst and Hilland, they had to hang onto the bridle because it's a very narrow, treacherous track. You definitely don't want your horse and cart going off the edge of this thing. Jeez, it's pretty steep. Straight down there. No guardrail around here. It's just straight on down. Bloody hell. You can see why it's called the Bridle Track.
This looks wicked. Really cool.
We followed the Turon River along the Bridle Track until out of the corner of our eyes, we saw an incredible looking campsite.
This would have to be one of the sickest campsites I've ever seen. Yeah, dude, I reckon this is... How cool is this with that big rock in the water? This looks wild.
No way.
I tell you what, this looks like something out of like... Again, I don't know what it is, what I think America looks like, but this looks like something out of America for some reason. Just like the crystal blue water, big random rocky outcrops right in the middle. Got this huge cliff face up behind us, big rock face, and we're camped out here on a spit, right in the middle of it all.
I've camped at some pretty good spots before, but even this, Jesus, it's pretty impressive. And at a place that you don't really hear that much about either.
All right, so we're set up at our awesome camp on the Turon River now. I just wanted to quickly touch on my 12-volt system because since we did all this, I haven't really touched on how it's all been going, so we'll quickly run through it. So in terms of the 12-volt accessories I've got, they've all been working actually flawlessly. So the inverter's been running non-stop pretty much, and it works mint all the time. All my little 12-volt panels, lights, that's all been working a treat as well. The fridge, since I did the fan mod, no complaints. I fixed the King's fridge. I'm gonna claim that. The King's fridge is now fixed. And obviously all that stuff being run by my new custom lithium battery, which as you guys would have seen, that's now working flawlessly as well. So super happy with how all this system is working. And as for what's keeping my whole battery system going as well, of course, I have all my C-Tech chargers still stuffed behind the seat, and these things haven't missed a beat. They've been working flat out the whole time, and they are what allow me to keep this system going. For those extended camps, I've also been making use of the MPPT controller that's inbuilt into the chargers. I just get a little solar blanket and I've literally got a port right here, plug straight in, and that means while I'm at camp doing nothing and the sun's shining, I can have a blanket out there and it's pumping the charge straight into the battery. So just super simple and super effective. So with the 12-volt system all working sweet, it means that I can sit back and do the things I enjoy doing, like fishing, drinking beers, eating awesome camp food, and the whole car is just working as it should. So it's awesome to have a 12-volt system that's reliable, and yeah, honestly, probably the best mod in the whole car.
You know who's MVP of this trip, Liam?
King Chrome.
It was bloody blower. Every night, without doubt.
We probably would have froze to death if we didn't have it.
Last night it was like, the wood was pretty average, and we just had the King Chrome blower going.
Yeah, that thing's actually been like a godsend.
Uses next to no power, and you can lock the trigger on. And then just sit it. And it'll just turbocharge the fire. So it's like a fully hands-free operation as well. So whoever thought a blower for camping?
Well, I don't even know what their intended purpose is. Just a clean.
I think when you drill a hole somewhere, zap it up because that's got suction on it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to blow dust off something.
Yeah.
But they work
very
for
handy.
stoking fires.
Mm.
All right, so tonight we're on the Turon River, and you know here at Aussie Arvos we like to do things ourselves, have a crack, and tonight's dinner is no different. I'm going to attempt to make fried chicken. Never been done before by myself, but I've watched enough videos on YouTube to sort of half figure it out. So we've got a bunch of ingredients in front of us, including almost all of the Colonel's secret herbs and spices, and we're pretty much just going to get stuck into this, and hopefully by the end we have some nice tasting fried chicken. We're essentially making like, you know how when you buy a Zinger box now, instead of getting 3 wicked wings, like you should, you get like KFC boneless pieces or something crap? We're essentially using the same cut of chicken as that. Well, so I think anyway. And this will be more than enough for me and Paddy. And the reason we're patting them down is, well, what I've read, is that it's gonna eliminate moisture from the outside and that'll help the crumbing to stick to it once it's fried and it won't just, you know, fall off. Next, we're gonna get some plain flour and we're gonna just throw the chicken in some plain flour because it's gonna help our egg wash stick to it. Because if you can make fried chicken yourself easy, why would you go to KFC? It's a little micro.
That's the little crummy stuff you find in the bottom of the Zinger box.
That one can be a popcorn chicken, that one. All right, so there's all our chicken floured. So next special thing, corn flour. Now, in my research, I found the reason they use corn flour is because it's got a lower burning temperature than just plain flour. So when you mix this with this, it'll ensure that the crumbing doesn't burn too quickly before the chicken's cooked. So that's why we're using this. All right, now here's the fun part, spices. The Colonel's secrets that he doesn't want you to know. Wow, lucky for us, Harry from Fire to Fork figured it out, so that's the basis I'm going off today. Now, these are almost all of the spices you need to replicate KFC chicken. I couldn't find them all in Coles, so we're working with what we got, but if you want exact measurements for them, we'll quickly flash them up on screen, but I'm just gonna start adding these as we go in this order. First is thyme, 1/2 tablespoon basil, 1/3 of a tablespoon oregano, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 4 tablespoons of paprika. That might be the whole jar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I did use a fair bit of it. Garlic, salt. Last one. Now this one's interchangeable. 1/2 tablespoon of MSG. I couldn't find MSG in Coles, so I'm just gonna use salt instead. All right, there's our spice blend complete. Now we can set that aside. The chicken's ready to go. The last thing we have to do is get a couple of eggs into a bowl and whisk them. Now when Harry does it, he says use buttermilk. I don't know where to find buttermilk, so I'm using eggs instead. Radio. So we're just gonna begin preheating our oil first. Now I'm just using canola oil because it's tasteless and it's pretty cheap. We've already used this for a cook and it's getting reused, and each cook gets better to a certain extent. All right, so pretty simple. I'm sure everyone's pretty much done this before. Into the egg wash. That egg wash will stick nicely, and then into here. I want to make sure all those pockets are filled. Dude, this is gonna be some, I reckon this is gonna taste pretty good. Now for frying, you gotta make sure the oil's up to temp. I'm pretty sure the right temp's about 170, 180 degrees, but I don't have a thermometer, so instead the trick is use a stick or anything wood, stick it in the oil, and if it starts to boil and show bubbles instantly, that means it's up to temp. So this is ready to fry. I don't know how this is gonna go, but we will see. All right, ready? Let's go. This will help bring down the temperature of the oil a touch if it's too hot. Oh my God. Deep frying. Deep frying's sick. All right, we'll just get them all in. You don't understand how curious I am to see if this works out. I'm so curious. So this will probably take about 5 minutes. We want to make sure that chicken's cooked through. Don't want any salmon paella around here. Seems to be working though. I tell you what, just touch it. It's going to be some crispy chicken. That is for sure. This is going to be proper crisp. I actually am really excited. Oh, this is so sick. The expectations are so high though, which is kind of bad. So we're gonna have our chicken in wraps. I guess you could almost call it like a KFC twister, but you can eat it whatever way you want. You can just have it straight as bits or yeah, chicken sandwiches, whatever you want. But we're gonna do wraps tonight, so. Bro, it feels crisp. Honestly, that's probably about right, dude. So we're just gonna pull one out to test it. Just cut it in half and check. Hear that? That sounds crispy. All right, let's do a check. See if that chicken's cooked, they're all coming out.
Oh,
yeah.
Go, pull them out.
Pull them out. Dude, it actually smells like KFC. Oh my God, it's working, Patrick. And what we're gonna do before we make the wrap, we're gonna cut a piece in half and just try just the straight chicken. And of course, our little popcorn chicken.
Stop it.
Bro. All right, I'll get that bit that I cut in half.
Oh, it does smell like KFC.
Oh, it actually does. All right, this is gonna be that's our demo. So look at that, perfectly cooked through. And then we can try some KFC chicken. I can't believe I gotta take a video of this. Should we try a bit?
Go for it.
I'll tell you what, for chicken in the bush, that's pretty good. That is pretty damn good. You try a bit, Paddy.
The crunch though, it's so crunchy.
Apparently there's certain tricks to get the crunch like real crunchy, but
good.
honestly, sometimes there's only so much you can do, but it's pretty good though. Definitely tastes like KFC though.
Oh, 100%.
And we were missing a few ingredients there too.
Oh no. That's incredible.
Alright, let's make some twisters. Kiwi mayo, here's our MSG.
Yeah.
In the kiwi mayo. Well, should I try the popcorn chicken? This will be crispy.
Yeah.
Ready? Alright, there you go. Twister wrap assembled. So there it is. Fried chicken in the bush. I tell you what, that's about as good as it gets when you're all this far away from civilization. So we're gonna sit down and enjoy these, and yeah, definitely one to try at home, guys. Give it a go. That is really good. You know what it actually almost tastes similar to? You ever had schnitz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it gives me vibes of that too.
Eating freshly fried goods in the middle of nowhere. How good.
The next morning we were ready to continue our journey into the upper reaches of the Turon River, but first we had to finish the Bridle Track.
Even today you can still see all the remnants of the old track building where they've made bridges or filled in, you know, bits where it could possibly be a landslide. It's all carved out, done by hand, and miners for years travelled along this path going from Bathurst to Hill End, carrying their gold, their picks, their shovels, the food. So it's pretty cool being able to drive along this track 150 years plus later and do it in my four-wheel drive and see all the same things they got to see. So in 2010 there was a landslide on the Bridle Track and it closed a little section of it for I think it was around 13 years until basically end of last year it reopened for the first time. So since then you had to circle all your way back around, you couldn't make it through, but now they've built this bypass track so you can get through and make it all the way through to Bathurst.
So with the Bridle Track completed, we decided not to continue to Bathurst, but instead follow the Turon River upstream to an even older gold mining town called Safala.
Alright, this place is straight out of, Sovereign Hill or something. Like, it's insane. It's a so well-preserved gold mining town. Safala.
After checking out Safala, we continued up the Turon exploring backcountry New South Wales and all that comes along with it.
There's something about travelling backcountry New South Wales, or backcountry any state to be honest, whether it's the houses, the roads, the little water crossings you do. There's something about it that's so much better than travelling on the freeway. It's because you see so many things that not many people ever get to see. It's routes that are very, very less travelled. You also get an appreciation that not everyone lives in suburbia, not everyone has a super beautiful house or a fancy car. You see, just the real deal out here. People that are living, a bit out of the way, living a bit outside of society even in a way. It's something that you can only really do and experience if you come out and do these back roads. We've now arrived in the upper reaches of the Turon River inside the Turon National Park. So we'll try and find a spot to camp for the night because this looks all pretty good in here.
All right, so a few of you might have actually noticed that on this trip, I'm actually using a stretcher with my swag. And this is the first time I've ever used a stretcher before. And so far, I've been loving it. Now, things that are great about it, obviously one, it gets you off the ground. So a couple of the campsites we've been on like rock or really undulated surfaces like this one. And being on the stretcher, it ensures that you're always sleeping on something flat, which is awesome. But a couple little things I've found with this one, which is just a hand-me-down that I got off a family member, is it's quite thin, particularly for this swag. It's too thin, so you don't really get the full width of the swag. And it's not super taut, so I have found that I'm sinking into it quite a bit. But on these cold nights, I'm not really moving around too much anyway, so that hasn't been an issue. So yeah, definitely the stretcher life's pretty good.
What's on the menu tonight, Lamb?
Steak and chips, broccolini, mushroom. Isn't it funny how we eat better in the bush than we do at home? Wow, that's not true. Mum wouldn't like it if she heard that. But. There is many spots to choose from along here, and there was one that we sort of looked at on the way in, but it was a nice spot, but it was covered in rubbish, and so I'm going to go down and clean some of it up because I can't stand Hey Paddy, come back for a second. I'm going to grab some of this rubbish at that campsite.
Prime example of what I don't want to happen. All this stuff ends up in the river. Broken glass. Oh, there's so much. That's all paper. At least that's biodegradable. But yeah, because you have to right next to it. Actually, no, it's probably not even but it is. I got no idea what it is. And they don't use toilet paper, they use wet wipes because they're that's definitely got a in it. So do all those. I don't know, it's a bit better. It's never going to be perfect, but yeah, it's disgusting. I mean, it looks a bit better. There's still toilet paper around, but at least it's biodegradable. I don't know.
Alright, so that's the Turon River done. We started from the lower reaches near Hill End and ended up all the way up here, up towards Lithgow. So, such a good stretch of track. There's so many camping options, so much history to see.
It's like the four-wheel driving isn't crazy hard or anything, but yeah, it's just nice camping. Like the river's really pristine and yeah, lots of cool, you know, land formations and stuff. So, yeah,
such an awesome way to spend a couple of days. So definitely recommend it if you're in the area. Do that loop, do the Bridle Track. It's yeah, bloody awesome. So anyway, that's the end of today's episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. Next time we're going to Lithgow, which we're really excited for. So get subscribed, stay tuned, and we'll see you there.